We have Will Newsom, CEO of Createc, here in Cockermouth in their rig hall. Createc describe themselves as a pioneering technology solutions company that tackles industrial challenges, particularly in the nuclear industry, but also in other sectors. We're very lucky to have Will Newsom here today. He's a very busy man. Thank you, Will, for being here, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks ever so much for inviting me to join in on it. It's quite exciting.
Yeah, so explain to us what a pioneering technology solutions company is exactly.
So yeah, it is all about the technology. So we are an organisation that has specialisms in robotics, in radiation sensing, and in software as well. And we use those specialisms to deliver technology to our key customers.
Okay, and what kind of projects are you dealing with? Like, what are the challenges that the customers face that you then come in and help out with?
That's the thing. That's the really exciting thing, is that the challenges are so incredibly varied, and our job really is to look at these different challenges, take certain aspects of them, and work out how we can piece those bits of IP together, so that we can then develop something that's an overall cohesive that works for everyone. So you'll see us in national critical infrastructure, so non-nuclear things. We do some defence work, and then you'll see us in some of the most dangerous hostile places on Earth in nuclear environments. That might be deploying robotics, it might be sending our own products in there. It's just incredibly varied.
Fantastic. And I am conscious that we are here surrounded by quadrupeds, robotic arms. The audience can't see all of them, but we are literally surrounded by quadrupeds. So why robots? Where's that come from?
So yeah, I mean, some of the main things that we have here would be, of course, there's the legged robots, there's the wheeled robots, there's the manipulators, there's world-leading gamma imagers for physics instruments. So why technology? I think what you can see is you can see the practical end of technology here. So our business is all about delivering technology that actually makes a difference to the world. So it's research and development, crucially important, but we're at the bit slightly beyond that in terms of using all that technology to actually go and make a difference. So, it might be, for example, entering a facility, a nuclear facility, that no one's actually been able to go into because of the potential of the hazards in there. And so, well, okay, let's remove humans from that point of risk. Let's do things safer, faster, cheaper. Let's send robots in there and get them that crucial information that then allows them to plan what can we actually do with this facility in the future.
Makes sense. Great, okay. And I'm kind of getting a sense that a number of our West Cumbrian-based innovators, technology companies are in that same space of kind of how do you take the humans away from any danger and find new ways of penetrating some of these rather hazardous facilities in order to then decommission them, presumably.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting you mentioned Cumbria. Cumbria as a county has some incredible businesses doing incredible things. It's not just Createc. And as a county, what it does, it really is a powerhouse in the UK. We see other businesses sending things far and wide of the UK and internationally as well. And it's just so impressive. And of course, we're really privileged to be here with those companies and to collaborate with them as well.
Brilliant. So tell me about how Createc started. Where did it all begin?
So Matt Meller founded Createc 15 years ago, and he set up a business that, should it have existed when he was looking for a role, this would be the type of business that he wanted. So it's this real intersection between technology, innovation, but more importantly, entrepreneurialism. So, innovation to me is not just the technology. Innovation is about how do you take that technology, make a difference, and have a commercial benefit from doing so. So Matt set the business up 15 years ago when he worked in another business that supported him, and then Createc's been going on great since then. And then what happened was approximately 5 years ago, I was working in a very, very large nuclear consultancy. I've always worked in rather large consultancy businesses. And I got to a point whereabouts I thought I want to either set something up for myself or I want to be a significant part of a business. So the interesting conversation, I kind of knew about Createc at the time, and I actually contacted Matt via LinkedIn. And we had a really long conversation one evening, just messaging each other on LinkedIn. And then that led to us meeting up in person. And it was as Matt was dashing off to Japan. I think we met up in Manchester before he jumped on a plane. And we went from there.
Brilliant. And 5 years later, you're now in the CEO role. And Matt is...
So Matt is the CTO now. Mm-hmm. So Matt's still very much part of the business. He's a crucial part of the business. And it was 2 years ago that we decided. So I originally joined as engineering director, joined the board, and then we had this change whereabouts I then became CEO of the business, and he became CTO.
Fun, exciting. Okay, so I understand that the business didn't exactly start in nuclear, did it? Or did it partly start in nuclear? It feels like there was quite a lot of diversity across sectors in Createc.
So one of the kind of foundational moments really of Createc when Matt started the business is that he developed an idea for a novel gamma imager. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the kind of foundational technologies of Createc at the time. And because of the existence of that and because of the capability of that, then what happened was, unfortunately, when the Fukushima incident occurred, that was an ideal technology to be used to do some very early doors gamma imaging there. So quite early on in Createc's history was deployment of that as a product and as a service within the Fukushima facility. And then we've then been working with partners and customers and collaborators solving challenges in Fukushima ever since. So we've got a history of 15 years of working at Fukushima, and the amount of work that we do there has just increased and increased.
Ah, I see. So that explains the Japan connection.
Yes,
yeah.
So that's then led us to, so we have then set up Createc East Asia. So we have a wholly owned subsidiary business based in Tokyo that allows us then further expansion of our work in Japan.
And do you work in other countries as well? Yeah,
we work almost everywhere actually. So actually, in sweeping summaries, about 50% of our revenue comes from international. So we work in the US, we work in Canada, we work in Europe, in Norway, so to varying different degrees.
And how do you do that? How do you expand your business and export or kind of build relationships with different international partners? So
I think the word you said there was key. It's relationships. Relationships is absolutely crucial. It is so important as a foundational element. That's obviously not just a relationship with the customers, but also recognizing as well relationships with collaborators and partners as well. Now, of course, in Japan, we've got some great customers, we've got some great collaborators. We've got our Createc East Asia business that allows us the expansion. In North America, we've got a partner organisation that we work with that allows us to springboard into there. So they are people on the ground, they have the contracts and so forth, and we can then support them with the technology. One difficult thing, of course, is if you have morning meetings with Japan and then evening meetings with North America, that can be quite a long day. Yeah. And there are obviously logistic problems to be resolved of shipping hardware and people around right. the globe, really.
Interesting. And you said North America. I am aware that you've done some pretty exciting stuff at 3 Mile Island to
yes.
help with the decommissioning there.
Yes, that was a really interesting project. So To my knowledge, to date, that's still the world's most complex mobile robotic deployment in nuclear. So it was a couple of the Boston Dynamics Spot robots, some bespoke wheeled robots. It used our products and technology as well, and we had to characterize the entirety of the TMI-2 unit. So that was the one that was involved in the incident in the 70s. And yeah, we had to go and get them a full, complete picture. And it's the same kind of thing that I mentioned before, really. It's nobody's actually physically been able to enter that basement environment, for example, pretty much since the incident. So within a short period of weeks, we managed to capture more data than could have been captured in the past 20 years. And that's through the use of technology. And that's why I love technology.
And coming a bit closer to home, I have to say congratulations. You've won the AutoSAS contract with the NDA, wasn't it, the Nuclear Decommissioning Authority? Can you tell us a little bit about that contract?
Yeah, so there were three different stages to whereabouts we've got to now, and so we did a demonstration of our technologies in a partial but full scale format. And then for this final stage now, this penultimate stage is to see the robots sorting PCM wastes.
What are PCM wastes?
PCM waste, so plutonium contaminated materials. Right. So with that AutoSAS project, we have collaborated with our partners, with Atkins-Realis, and we formed ArcTech. So ArcTech, as an unincorporated JV, will then be delivering this AutoSAS project. So you're taking the power of two different entities that then together is greater than its sum of parts. Mm-hmm. So now you've got the agility and the technology, etc., from Createc, and then you've got the capacity and the strength and the contractual routes, etc., from then Atkins-Realis. So it's just a perfect jigsaw match there.
And that's going to be taking place, is it Albury?
So yes, that's going to go ultimately to Albury.
To Albury, yeah. So we're talking about you guys are working together, even though you're both based in Cumbria, you're actually working together in a different nuclear site, part of the NDA estate down in the southwest.
Ultimately, yeah, we'll end up there. And so yes, that's interesting, sort of bringing both parts of the business together, both businesses together, to then collaborate on that technology that'll be landed here, and then ultimately we'll be going down to site.
And we've said AutoSAS. I'm not sure if we've explained that is sorting and segregation.
Sort and segregation, yes.
Yeah.
So it's the use of in essence, it's multiple robotic manipulators to handle the waste, and then multiple different types of sensors to categorize it and to sort it all out. So, I mean, there's cool technologies in there of X-rays and gamma imagers and all sorts of things.
Nice. And I'm delighted that you're a core member of iSH's Cumbria Robotics Cluster, and Atkins-Realis obviously is also an important member of the group. But we also have Eden Consulting here as neighbours. So we've got Atkins now set up as a neighbour to you, next door to you, and you've also got Eden Consulting over the road. They're also a member of the cluster. So what's going on here? Are we creating a physical cluster here in the outskirts of Cockermouth? I
mean, could you imagine? It would be how brilliant, to have just in here to almost have like a technology park that is dedicated to serving all these kind of similar customers. So it's great. I'm so pleased that Eden have based themselves across the road. They can knock on the door and ask for a cup of sugar or whatever. But of course, though, yes, I mean, we have project work as well with Eden. And again, that's obviously two small businesses in that instance, working together, whereabouts we have the capability with the software and the robotics, and they have the capability of the remote handling and mechanical engineering and so forth, and us both coming together to serve the needs of our customers. I mean, it's a great story, isn't it?
It's absolutely the ideal story. There's a real sense of the industry moving towards that collaboration piece. It's sort of encouraging that. I think both we're seeing it from the customers wanting to see more of that, and obviously wanting to see more use of SMEs in contracts, in bids and so on anyway, but real sort of like drive towards collaboration, but seeing it in the supply chain actually happening as well now.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it doesn't have to be driven per se by the end customers. You know, that of course as businesses we're commercial entities, and we can see that if the needs of our customers can be served by us coming together, and we can then sort of generate revenues from doing that, we can organise ourselves to fit together, and that's precisely what we've done in those couple of instances, and more besides as well.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about Will Newsom and what has driven you to end up sort of taking on this business, becoming the CEO. You're traveling around the world, you're in Japan, you're in North America, you're here, there, everywhere, building growth for the business. What's the driver behind you in doing this?
What's the driver? Wow, that's an interesting one. Probably a raging amount of ADHD, I would suggest, and maybe a little bit of insanity. You know, it is fearsomely difficult. It really, really is. But what drives me to do it is because I really, really enjoy that intersection with entrepreneurialism, with technology, with innovation, and genuinely seeing it actually giving the world a positive as a consequence of it. You know, it's incredibly satisfying. You know, also what drives me as well, it's a bit of a trope to say the business is only as good as the people that make it up, but it is absolutely true as well. And you know, working here, just the mix of people that are here, and everybody is really pushing hard again to deliver on that promise of technology making a difference to people. So I'm so lucky with my colleagues across Createc, you know, not just in this office but in Oxford and in Japan and Norway and everywhere else. That's the thing that kind of gets me up in the morning, of working with people, of understanding there's a challenge there to be solved, that we can be part of solving that. And then there's something left over at the end of it that you can say, we're a part of that.
I have to say, everyone I've spoken to, all the supply chain companies that I've met with so far, and generally the people in the nuclear industry that I've met with so far, everyone seems so passionate, and this sense of wanting to do something good for the region, for whatever the purpose is, but there's a sense of purpose always, I find.
I think there absolutely has to be a sense of purpose, because, you know, any effort without purpose, why do it? And I'm certainly getting that feeling as well in the Cumbrian area. You know, that I'm sure it exists elsewhere, but all I can say is what I see, which is, yeah, you know, Cumbrian businesses, small or large, really working with purpose to do something. So, you know, everybody's pushing in that direction, whether it be for Sellafield to support with the challenges there, you know, of post-operational clean-out and decommissioning, and you know, safe site stewardship, or whether it be throughout the UK and world wide.
Which I guess, you know, has to fill us with some confidence that we've got people who really care about what they're doing, looking after hazardous nuclear facilities. So it's all good.
It's a positive, for sure.
And what about personally? Do you have any free time? Do you have any interests outside of work?
Free time is a bit of a problem, I must admit. And, you know, I think that you know, we obviously need to be mindful about people having free time. I need to work more on that for sure. I want to set an example of that. But yeah, you know, I'm incredibly lucky. I have a wife, I have 2 daughters. You know, spending time with them is of course an absolute top priority. You know, absolute superstars that I live with my wife and daughters. Aside from that, kind of hobbies and interests would be, I really enjoy lifting weights, although I'm a little bit impeded at the moment, and although I'm a little bit impeded at the moment and nowhere near as fit as what I used to be. I've torn my bicep, so having to rehab that a little bit.
Yes. How did that come about?
How did that come about?
I'm laughing because I do actually know the story.
You know the story, yes. So the way I tell the story is that, I was on an assault course. I was swinging on the monkey bars, then the gladiator rings, and as I went to reach for the gladiator ring, it's kind of was a real stretch, and then I tore my bicep. My wife tells the story that I was playing on a children's playground. I think hers is a little bit more factually correct. But hey ho, it's a challenge you've got to get through.
But you're obviously ambitious, love a challenge, had to go for it.
I think this was, probably typical father stupidity, I guess, really, trying to show off in front of the children, and it backfired. But either which way, going through rehab now, sorting it out, going to get back into the gym, trying to get back into the gym a little bit. So we'll get on top of that. Other than that, other passions are motorbikes. I really enjoy going on motorbikes. Last year I had very little time to do so. Recently changed my motorbike now, so I'm going on that a little bit more. And then loads of other hobbies and interests. I guess a bit of a strange one would be I'm a self-confessed coffee nerd. So
what does that mean?
What does that mean? That means that I have spend an unreasonable amount of time preparing coffee, in terms of I grind my coffee, I weigh out the coffee beans, I have to then have a whole preparation process, I then draw this espresso, I measure the amount of liquid that comes out of it, and then I filter all the water beforehand and remineralize it. I mean, it's absolute madness, but it is a bit of a hobby as well, and it's a bit of a strange one.
Clearly, we are an engineer in all walks of life.
You can't take the engineering away from it, really, can you? Other people have kind of looked at me when I make coffee and say, that looks like something out of Breaking Bad and is madness. And they're absolutely right on both accounts, but it keeps me happy.
Now, I know what you've done as a degree, but let's tell the audience, because I find this extremely exciting. As
a degree?
Yes.
Okay, don't know why.
What you studied.
So I studied a master's in mechatronic engineering.
Yes.
So that was at what was UMIST and has now become Manchester. So mechatronic engineering is just mechanical and electrical engineering. But yeah, I wanted to, all products nowadays, so many things that used to be purely mechanical with a little bit of electrical, not electronic, they all have electronics in them nowadays. I mean, washing machines that are now Wi-Fi enabled and electric toothbrushes that are Bluetooth enabled, everything, even when I studied all those years ago, you can see everything was moving that way. So I wanted a degree that I could do that. And then in my early career, I fought very, very hard to ensure that I was that mixture between the electrical, electronic and mechanical as well.
Okay. And then what did you do after that? Is that when you went into consulting?
So after the degree, I joined what was at the time AMEC NNC, and has now ultimately through name changes become Amentum. So I was on their graduate program. That gave me a great foundation. I'm incredibly grateful actually to the experience that I had. I mean, throughout my whole career. There's been so many people that have supported me actually. There's been a number of people about, so I can really kind of point to them to say they were a really big influence in my life. So I was at AMEC NNC, worked in their Knutsford office and then in their Warrington office. Some great projects in terms of working with EDF, with Sellafield, Fusion, on the ITER project and other places. And then from there went to what's now become Cavendish, but was VT and then Babcock. Again, amazing influences there. Running around the country, particularly with EDF actually. Go into all the different sites and working on the outages and things like that. And again, that was very technology based, but it was developing the really, really quick, minimally engineered solutions that can solve a problem like right this second. Because obviously if you think about nuclear operations, it's quite a different set of challenges to nuclear decommissioning. Yeah. Nuclear operations, if you've got a reactor that's shut down, in general that's lost generation of over, I think it's $1.2 million a day. So you need the really safe but very, very quick turnaround with that. And then after that, joined iSH. So great French-owned nuclear consultancy. Did some really, really, really wonderful projects with them in terms of, again, all sort of operations and decommissioning, but then also defence work as well. And it was at that point that I decided need a bit of a change. So I went from a very, very, very large consultancy, then made the decision that I was going to plump to come to Createc. Unfortunately, that was right at the very start of a global pandemic. So it was quite a leap of faith to make, but it was having that daring attitude that actually, I really want to do this thing, and I can see what Createc is, and I've got faith in Createc, and I knew that I could be a good part of it.
And that is pretty amazing, actually, at the time of a pandemic, to have the courage to make that leap and join a business where most business at the time was struggling. Unless there were COVID testing businesses, most of them were actually kind of, struggling to stay open. So that does show a lot of courage.
Yeah, it was. I'm in a situation where sort of I'm the one that's providing for the home. And I must say, my wife was incredibly supportive of me. We had a really good conversation about it, and she said, "No, this is what you need to do." And she then supported me and gave me the courage to say, "Right, we're going to go for it." But like I say, it was belief in what Createc was doing and does continue to do. It was belief in the people in the business. Could just see it was a good choice.
And here we are today. You've grown the business.
Yes.
And it would be good to kind of get a sense of how it's grown in that time.
So in very general terms, it's in the region of about 30% growth year on year.
Wow.
Thereabouts. There's been some massive difficulties along the way. I mean, it's like in this last financial year now, of course, with the situation of the government and kind of drawing things in quite a bit. The early start to the year of potential and now reduction in funding in UK decom, for example. Sure. So it's provided an awful lot of challenges that we've had to address. But the business is quite diverse, of course. In terms of its customer base, the markets it serves, and the geography as well. So whilst there's been some challenges, past history has generally been about 30% growth, which has been great.
That is amazing.
And that's then led us, of course, to then land in this facility as well. Make the move from across the road to then have a bespoke facility here, which we're very proud of.
And you moved into this facility because you needed a bigger space, or was there other drivers?
We needed a bigger space. We also needed a space that was more representative of us as a business as well. So having this really nice modern facility, unfortunately, your viewers won't be able to see, but it's quite messy in here at the moment because we've got a number of projects, some of which are for Japan, and they're kind of going to go out the door at some point quite soon. So we've just frantically cleared a space for us to have this.
That's great.
But yeah, it's more representative of us as a business, and we needed the space as well. And also it gives us additional scope to grow a bit further as well.
And many congratulations on your success in the Cumbria Awards this week.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I put a post on to say that I was shocked, and genuinely was actually quite shocked.
Oh, really? You weren't expecting that?
No, really wasn't. I had a particularly busy week that week, and then so we got called up, and then a microphone put in front of my face, and asked some questions, and I was like, but no, it was a great evening. I must say, thanks very much to everyone who's supported us with that, and the application.
Category?
So that was flying the flag for Cumbria.
Wow.
So it spoke, of course, about a lot of the work that we do outside of the Cumbrian area, and of course international, as we've discussed.
Right. So flying the flag as a Cumbrian business that
Yes.
is kind of going around the world, basically saying
Yes.
how great Cumbria's
Absolutely,
capability
yeah.
is, which is exactly why we're here.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
absolutely.
And what's next for Createc? Where do you see it going next?
Well, sky's the limit, really, isn't it? Truly. I think what we've got is a great foundation, really, really great foundation. We're looking at what the next big things are, and how the business, for sure, growth is a key thing that we want. In terms of what we do, I think that the general mix of what we do is probably going to be fairly similar, but it will just grow and grow and grow. You'll see some of the technologies that we're developing. You'll see those doing more and bigger things as well. So we'll be releasing some stuff about some of the work that we're doing in the UK and abroad as well, and see that expand.
Nice, very good. Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.
Yeah,
It's
no.
been a really enjoyable podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much for coming.